Hey y'all, Alex here, and I thought I'd do a little bit of a storytime video about how I got back into riding and how my first year back riding has been. Some of you guys may know, but I rode for a very long time between the ages of 3 and 16 when I got injured. I rode very competitively back then on the A circuit and jumped up to the high juniors. However, I got injured while I was 16 and I had to take quite a bit of time off for many different reasons. I didn't get back into riding until I was 20, which was just last year, and I happen to be in South Korea now instead of in the States where I grew up. It's been about a year since now, so here's how that year went. So after basically just searching on the web for just any horseback riding stables in South Korea, I found one close-ish to where I was living that I could get to, and I just booked a lesson. Just like simple, walk, trot, whatever lesson kind of thing. And I went and I got to ride one of their just warm blood, like dressage horses. And it was great. I was extraordinarily sore, but I could still walk, trot, canter and everything, even though I hadn't ridden for so long. And it was super fun. And like immediately I was like, I want to jump again. Like I just want to get back into this. So the next time I came, the same thing, I just booked a lesson with one of like the beginner instructors and just was given a warm blood horse. And I was talking to them and I was saying like, oh, like I'd be really, interested in jumping again. Do you have anybody that can teach that or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, sure, like if you want to jump today, like let me get one of our like other trainers to come and help you. And just kind of randomly, they just dragged one of the other trainers out and they're like, this is Coach Son. He actually has gone to the Olympics for show jumping representing South Korea. So just kind of completely randomly, I managed to meet my coach. He's been my coach since then and he's still my coach to this day, Coach Son, who has been absolutely incredible. And I'm not sure I would have continued riding, or my riding definitely wouldn't at least have gotten to this point in just a year without the enormous help and support of him. So kind of right from the first day, we kind of kicked it right off, and I immediately from that day on started training with him. For the first while, I was just riding the barn horses, just kind of doing cross rails, like, could barely see a distance still, hadn't jumped in 5 years, small, just kind of figuring out how everything worked again and working with him. And through that time, I eventually ended up riding one horse who was a 4-year-old Korean warm blood. So she was very young, but she had an amazing personality, and she was pretty talented. She's a Korean bred horse, so she was able to do the young Korean horse classes. So we thought this might be a really good match. I had a lot of fun with her, even though she was by far the youngest horse I'd ever ridden, but we were learning a lot together. And I thought, you know what, after riding her for a while and kind of getting my feet back under me, I thought, you know what, let me see if I can buy her. However, unfortunately, something came up in the vet check that I wasn't willing to take a risk on, and so that kind of ended there. However, at that point, I kind of still wanted my own horse. I've been riding for a few months now and gotten really back into it and wanted to start showing. I guess a side note here is I think I would have definitely gone with a lease if I was, in the States or something. However, there is no leases in Korea. So it's either you just ride whatever school horse there is or you buy a horse, and there's not really an in-between. So I was like, okay, let me buy a horse, and was like, you know what? Actually, maybe I do want a big jumper again. So then kind of after another month or so, I kind of suddenly pivoted towards, you know what? No, let's go find a 1.30 meter 40 jumper. So that was kind of what we pivoted towards, and we started looking for 130, 140 jumpers inside Korea. And we kind of did our search. We tried a whole bunch of different horses. I got to go to all the different burns inside Korea and tried a whole bunch of different horses, which were really great. Kind of had 3 favorites at the end and ended up choosing one. And so the horse we ended up getting was a 9-year-old gelding named Charisma V Amarilla Shafzi. Long name. We call him Amaril. So that was my horse, suddenly. And he has been absolutely amazing. He has been one of the best things to happen to me, I think. He is super sweet, super awesome, bit challenging at times, but the best boy.
Wow.
When we got him, he didn't have a ton of show experience because his previous owner had imported from Europe when he was 7. He came to Korea when he was 7-ish, 6 or 7, And then he didn't really show that much in Korea, but he was a very good boy. He always tried very hard to please. And so we started working with him throughout the winter. After about 2 months of riding him, kind of getting used to him, did some jumping on him, that kind of stuff. He unfortunately, we don't know exactly what it was, but basically he came up a little bit lame after like paddock one day, after turnout one day. And we had the vet come out and look at him, and he was fine. There was no tear or anything, but he still had to have 3 weeks off, and then we had to bring him back slowly after that. So we didn't really get to compete at all through the spring. That was all going good, and then in around end of April, beginning of May, we thought maybe we'd do some competitions. But then for me, I'm in university, so it started getting around final season, and I got really busy, and I didn't even really have time to ride. Finally, summer rolled around, and towards, I guess, the end of summer, we finally were able to make it out to a competition. The first competition we went to went very poorly, for me at least. He managed to buck me off like 2 days before we left to the show because he was fresh. So that was fun. So I was quite injured going to the first show because I had landed quite hard on my shoulder. And then at the show, he was quite fresh still and had not been to a show in almost a year. So he was very high-strung the entire show and very spooky, and I couldn't get him around any course that weekend. Luckily, my trainer, my coach, had more luck and got him around both the 140s and the 145s. He jumped the 140s with just 1 down. So I was very happy with that. But obviously for me, it was not that good. However, the next show we went to went so much better. We went there, I jumped a 1 meter warm up. He was great, he was clear. We jumped a 110 class, he had 1 down. We jumped a 120 class, he had 1 down. We jumped another 120 and he was clear. So finally starting to find our feet a little bit, and it was definitely, I guess, good times. Also at that show, my coach jumped him in the 130s and he won. And that was, I guess, kind of the start of us finding a little bit of our groove, and that was just in the end of August. So just about exactly 1 year after I had started riding again. Then after that, school started, and now I'm once again balancing school and riding. And we went to a few other shows after that. We went to another show where I jumped the 120s, made a mistake and fell off. And then we went to another show, which is just a 1-day trailer in trailer show, jumped the 120s, we're clear, and we're second. Most recently, we just came back from another show where we jumped the 130s for the first time. Amada was very good, and we had just 2 down in the 130s, and jumped a few nice 1 meter 20 rounds as well with just 1 or 2 down. So it's funny because I've had him for almost 10 months now, around there, and I've been riding for just a little bit over a year again, and we're still definitely finding our feet and finding our rhythm together and how it goes, but he's been absolutely amazing, and the hope is that he will be my 140 horse. He definitely has a scope for the 40s. Higher than that, we don't know. Kind of depends on how he continues to feel, and if he gets more confidence in the 140s, maybe we can look at the 45s and the 50s. But for now, he is definitely going to be very solid for me through the 130s and the 140s, as long as I can ride well enough. That's always the catch. And that's kind of the plan going forward. We've got, I think, just 2 more shows left in the season this year. But that's basically been my journey back to riding after 4 to 5 years off. It's been absolutely amazing, and I'm very excited to be back, and hopefully in the future I will post some more videos about how my riding progresses, what's going on with it, and basically how things change, basically my life in both South Korea and also my life show jumping. And so if you guys have any comments or questions, you can leave them down in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them in the comments or in future videos. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.